Alright, welcome to my final food presentation for the culinary arts class. Today I have chosen to make a tomato shrimp spinach pasta, and the reason I have chosen this is because it's relatively easy to make and you don't have to pay attention to too much of it in order to cook it properly. The only things you really need to pay attention to are the shrimp and the pasta, because you can easily ruin the pasta if it's overcooked and not cooked al dente. And then the shrimp needs to be cooked properly so it doesn't have a rubberized skin and the texture is good, and it also needs to be cooked thoroughly so you don't get some sort of food poisoning. All right. And real quick, I just wanted to talk about the health enhancing components of this dish. So the shrimp is really healthy for you because not a lot of people get their recommended um, seafood intake for weekly seafood intake, and the reason for that is that it's just not very much. It's not that available, and not many people like it. And the shrimp is good because it can go with a lot of things, and the shrimp also gives you the omega-3 nutrients, which are beneficial for your skin and the body to maintain itself. And I also wanted to some more of the health enhancements that you can make to this recipe, because what I'm using today is just regular angel hair pasta, but you can also get a whole grain pasta to help with your dietary needs or whatever you need, and then you can also substitute like the tomatoes, or you can add more spinach if you need those nutrients in your life. And without further ado, I shall start measuring out everything. Alright, so I have gotten most of my ingredients together. There's just a few left on my ingredients list, which I have right here with how to make the recipe and everything. And so I have already measured out 1/4 of a teaspoon of red pepper flakes, because that's what it calls for. And I'm going to be mixing a couple of the spices that I'm about to use because they're all going into the shrimp for seasoning, and why dirty more dishes if they're all just going to be on the same thing anyways. So there's 1/4 of a teaspoon of red pepper flakes in there. Now I need a teaspoon of smoked paprika. So I will get that. Paprika. Entire teaspoon. Now I know I am measuring over the container, which is a big no-no, but as I saw, I had just spilt some, so I did a little bit less in the spoon in order to keep that flavor balance. Alright, and now I need some salt and black ground pepper to taste, so let me grab those. Alright, here I have my salt and my pepper. Just gonna add a little bit of salt because flavoring, but not too much, because like, for example, me and my mom, we both have a higher blood pressure, so we need to watch our salt intake. So that's also another good example of the health enhancements of this recipe is with all the flavorings that are going in here already and all the seasonings, you don't need too much salt because that's not the main seasoning. And so now a little bit pepper, because my family likes a lot of pepper. All right. And now I need a teaspoon of Italian dressing. Or not Italian dressing, Italian seasoning, my bad. Teaspoon of that. All right. And with all that combined, I can just mix it all together, get the flavors to blend nicely. Just trying to whisk it up and get things incorporated just a little bit. Might add a little bit more salt because it's only a few granules I added. Okay, that's perfect. All right. Now that that is all incorporated, can get our shrimp out. And so I left the shrimp in the fridge just so it could be, crap. Never mind. I should have thought it. That's my bad. So, let me do that real quick. Alright, so right now I have my shrimp in my sink with running cold water over it because it's not thawed, and leaving it out in room temperature water is either going to cook it if I have the water too hot, or it will be within the danger zone of bacterial growth, which is about 45 to 135 Fahrenheit. And so trying to keep those areas out of the shrimp as much as possible because the shrimp is one of the main things that can give you that food poisoning. Alright, so the shrimp is still thawing out under the running cold water, and I just wanted to take a moment to talk about why I'm using the running cold water a little bit more than what I already did. So the reason I'm using the cold water over the overnight is because I forgot about this project until yesterday when I went to get all the ingredients, and so I didn't really have time to pull out the shrimp, put it in the fridge, and let it properly thaw. And I'm also not using the microwave method because I want the shrimp to be nice and tender when and not cooked, because if you put them in the microwave, yes, it will thaw them, but at the same time it's also going to cook the shrimp, and that's not what I want. I want to cook the shrimp on the skillet with all the seasonings I just prepared. Alright, so the shrimp are now thawed enough to the point where I can start peeling them and getting them deveined. However, the ones I did buy are already deveined, so I just need to peel them now. And the recipe calls for 8 ounces of shrimp, and the bag says that 6 shrimp is about 4 ounces, so I'm going to pull out 12 shrimp. Oh, and I should probably grab a bowl for the shrimp that I can put them in. So just a little bowl like this. And I'm gonna pull out my garbage can, sit it right here real quick, wash my hands. Well, wash them after touching the garbage can. I had already washed them before I started making the video, but I don't trust garbage cans, so I always wash them after touching them. Alright. Alright. Gonna have to wash my hands again after touching the shrimp to prevent cross-contamination. So let's just get the shrimp peeled. Now they're not as thawed as I would like, but they're about as good as they can get within the time frame that I have. Get this tail out like that. Clean it up just a little bit more because some of it was stuck, and there we go. Peeled shrimp. That's one. Let me find the ones that are most thawed. There is 2. 3. Oh, that one might have broken the tail off. Come on. Nope. Got it. Got the whole shrimp. 4. 5. Oh, what's that? Nope. 7. 8. And sorry if my counting is getting a little annoying. I just don't know exactly how far you guys are grading me. So I'm going as in-depth as I possibly can. Which means I'm taking you from all the way from step 1 all the way till the recipe is finished. Oh, come on, this one's stuck. It's not as thought as I thought it was when I grabbed it. Nine. Ten. 11. That one. And 12. That's all 12 shrimp. So now I'm going to wash my hands again. Right. All right. So now the recipe says to take the shrimp, add 2 tablespoons of olive oil to the skillet, which is right there, and then turn it on to medium-low heat. Add the shrimp, season with the seasonings I premixed, and then cook for about 5 minutes. So let me get all that going. 4, medium-low, that going. Get the olive oil, and now let me grab this. Add about 2 tablespoons. One, 2. Alright, that's dirty. draining the water that got into the shrimp bag because I didn't use all of them. So, gonna put them back into the freezer and get all the air out of the bag so it'll stay as good as possible for as long as possible. Alright, and now that that's going, I will switch you over to the skillet. Alright, here we are at the skillet. Just gonna coat the entire bottom of the pan with the olive oil just so when I dump the shrimp in, everything gets nice and coated. Alright, there's all that. Let it warm up just a little bit more. Got my bowl of shrimp right here. Put away my olive oil for now. Oh, and another health enhancement that you can make to this recipe is instead of using olive oil, you can most likely use a better oil that I haven't really experimented with this recipe. It's the first time I'm making it, so I'm kind of just making it to the best I can. But I believe you might be able to add coconut oil and it will do the same thing. And if not, instead of just getting regular olive oil, you can also get the extra virgin olive oil, which will help reducing those fats. All right, it's almost good. And start to feel the heat rising. All right. Got my spices right here. Right. Yep. That is about good. So now I'm gonna dump my shrimp in here. I'm gonna get a spatula. It's not as warm as I like it to be, but we can get that going real quick. Gonna set that there for now. Wait for the shrimp just to sizzle just a little bit, so by the time I add the seasoning, it will all be good and nicely cooked. And I'm gonna coat the shrimp evenly with half of the seasoning, and then flip them, and then coat it with the other half. Oh boy. Alright, so I realized why it wasn't cooking as quickly is because on this burner, it cooks a lot slower than that burner. So, I put them on there for a few seconds, and now they're starting to cook. So, with that, I'm gonna take my seasoning and just sprinkle it over. Make sure I get every single shrimp for the most part. Alright. Alright, that's about good on that. And I'm gonna take them and flip them. Make sure they cook nice and evenly, because you don't want undercooked seafood. Now they're already getting nice and pink, but that's might need to reduce the heat just a little bit, because if they're already getting pink at this stage, the center's not very well cooked. So I'm just gonna reduce it just a tiny bit and take the rest of my seasoning, throw it on. Gonna heavily coat this side because still have a lot left over. Ooh, starting to smell good. Alright. Keep track of which shrimp I flip. Make sure they all cook nice and good. out. Alright. And I'm going to coat them again one last time, just to get all that flavoring in. Alright, that is now dirty. It's going to go in the sink. Along with the shrimp bowl. Alright, shrimp just about done. Alright. Alright, let those sit for a second. Then the recipe calls for chopped tomatoes, fresh basil leaves, spinach, and garlic. But for now, I need to remove the shrimp and set them aside. So I'm gonna take them off. We'll do that. Get a plate. Just so I'm gonna get a bowl. Just so I can have the shrimp marinate in that juice that they create. Put those in there. Now, sorry if the video isn't showing everything like I said it would. I'm just kind of in a rush of time right now, so I need to get everything done as quick as I can. Alright, got all that. So, now we're gonna keep that off the heat real quick, and then we're gonna go back to the chop. Alright, back at the chopping board here. Let me angle it a little bit better for you. Alright, so we need the tomatoes, basil leaves, and spinach, and garlic. I thought it needed minced. It doesn't need minced. Alright, so we need our 4 Roma tomatoes, 3 cloves of garlic, oops, and I got the freshest basil I could find in the amount of time I had. So, gonna go ahead and chop everything up. 4 full chopped tomatoes. I'm probably just gonna go with a nice dice on these tomatoes, and I am going to wash them first because you never know what's on the tomatoes. Ah, the sticker's stuck on my hand. 2. Get the other bag. Now these are all supposed to be Roma tomatoes, and they are all Roma tomatoes. It's just I don't know why they're shaped differently. They were bought at 2 separate times. These 2 I had earlier, and these 2 I had to buy the other day. So that's probably why. All right. Get a chef's knife in order to cut the tomatoes. Gonna set these aside for a second. All right. Gotta make sure the cutting board is stable. All right, and I'm going to use the eagle claw method. I forgot. No, it's hook and claw. That's it. So just nice thin cuts, tomato. Or not too thin, since I am going to be dicing these. All right, don't need the ends. All right, gonna reassemble the tomato. And from the top down, oops, that's not reassembled right. There we go. And then from this side, we're gonna do this. All right? And then just one quick chop that way, or two, I should say. All right, so now that's those tomatoes. Let me get another out of bowls. Wait, no, yeah, out of bowls. Okay, so gonna take that one chopped tomato, set it to the side for the second. Then, yeah, I'm gonna cut it this way real quick, just so I can get that nice little. You realize where I messed up right here. Don't worry, I got this. Forgot to chop off the end. There we go. Chop up the other end is not good. I want to get rid of that. Get rid of that. All right. And now we've got that. Gonna chop it this way. And then we're gonna take the little pieces, chop them. And the reason I'm cutting them the way they are is just because I like a variety of tomato sizes, and so this never really gets you the same tomato size twice. So it's just nice because they all cook relatively evenly. I've done this before in the past, and I know it works, and that's the reason why I'm doing this. Just gotta pay attention to each of the slices, make sure they're not too big. But like, see, got a cubed tomato. Those should cook fairly nice. All right, 2 tomatoes down, 2 more. Gonna get rid of my ends. Do the same thing I just did. Gonna cut it this way. Make sure the tomato doesn't fall apart. Like it just did. All right, now we're gonna take 2 at a time and just chop, chop. Now these pieces are a bit bigger than what they should be. That's okay. Varying sizes are going to give different textures, but also I should stop saying relatively, but they should be similar in taste. Well, not similar, they are going to be similar in taste. All right. Cut this one more time. And that's just a bunch of the center seeds. All right, final tomato. Do the same thing, go all the way up to that bruise that formed. That's probably from me picking it out. All right, go this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Cut these this way. Alright, so now we've got our giant conglomerate of tomatoes, and we're going to put the skillet back onto the heat source, because we need that oil to start going and getting all that. And then we need to, once we add the tomatoes and basil and spinach, never mind. We're not going to do that. We're going to keep that off the heat for now, and then we're going to just start chopping everything we have. So, I'm going to push these off to the side so I have more room, and since these are all vegetables and fruits, no meats, I can keep the cutting board the same. Alright, hey, that basil doesn't look too good. gonna have to do with what we have. It's wilted, but that's fine. Get rid of the stem. Just chop it up. Never mind, this is just garbage. It's too wilted. This is the one problem I have. Whenever I try to find basil, I can never find proper basil like this. So, I'm gonna take the ends, cut off the stems, because we just want the leaves, for the most part. It's fine to have a little bit of stem. Alright, get rid of that. Alright, so now I'm just gonna do a rough chop on the basil, just because we're mostly extracting those flavors. Alright, got that. I'm gonna switch it this way. Just go crazy on it. Now my cutting board is a little warped, so it is a little bit harder to cut, but that will be fine. Oh, all my basil is starting to go. That's not good. It's like, that might be all I can get out of this basil. This might all be too bad to use. I don't know why it's like this, in all honesty. I never find proper basil. Or fresh basil, I should say, not this packaged crud. And the last box is also too wilted. Okay, so that's about all the basil I'm going to be able to get out of this. But that should be fine, because basil already has a strong enough punch to it. So altering the recipe, it's fine. Alright, and now we need our spinach. Need how much spinach? Let's see. It says, oh, yes, I only need 1/4 cup of basil, so that is actually the correct amount. And then I need 6 ounces of basil, spinach. So if I can get this box open. Maybe. Open. Please. Should have opened this before. No, you get to watch me struggle. There we go. So, need about 6 ounces. I do not have a scale, so I'm going to get a measuring cup. Measure out 3/4. Alright. So I don't have a 3/4 cup, so I got 1/4 cup and 1/2 cup. That is 3/4 cup. So we're just going to take some of the spinach, which was pre-washed, and we're just going to put it in there. So I need about that. And I do like a little bit extra spinach, so I'm not too worried about this. And you can also have enough spinach to make a salad to go along with this. Alright, so that's about all the spinach we need. And I am just going to do another super rough chop, just because spinach doesn't need to be too well done. Alright, I hope my skillet is big enough for this. Should be. Alright, so now that we've got all that, we're going to take our garlic cloves. We are going to peel them. If I can get this skin off. Always hate getting garlic clove skin off. Oh my. Alright, there's that one. There is that one. And this last one just has a tiny bit of skin left. So we are going to take that off. There we go. All right. And now with the garlic, I'm going to mince it. So there we go. Break them open. There we go. Now that that's all done, I forgot that you take that off after you do that. And now that we've got all that, we're just gonna mince it up. So bring it back, go over it again, get everything off the blade. Just make sure to finely chop this garlic. It can be up to your preference on how you like the garlic. Just chopping it more will release more of those flavors. But you also don't want it too small where it's just microscopic pretty much. You do want a little bit of that tang or spice that the garlic gives off. So, alright, that's good. Alright, now we're going to set this here. We're going to get the skillet back on to the heat. And then we're going to take you, set you back where I had you. Yep, right there. Alright. Now we're going to turn that up to medium. Then we're going to take our cutting board. And we're just going to dump it all in there. Now obviously my skillet isn't too big, but it is able to fit everything. Alright. Get this. We're gonna just mix it all up, get all that flavor soaking. Cook it for 3 to 5 minutes. So it's 12:03. We'll check it at 12:06. It's everything nice and incorporated. Right. Now that all the flavors blended in, I'm gonna wash my hands from the garlic real quick. Alright, and while that is going, also going to get this pasta going. So, I'm going to grab this handy dandy pot, turn on that, then the pasta, we are cooking about 8 ounces of it, and so we need 3 quarts of water and a teaspoon of salt. So I need to watch my teaspoon. Right. Let's just get this mixing so nothing really burns and it's all nicely cooked. You can really smell that basil. Trying to escape. I saw that. There we go. Alright. And then we need a teaspoon of salt. Ooh, that got under my nail. Ooh, that hurt. Alright. Alright, there we go. There's the teaspoon of salt. Then we need 3/4 of water. So 96 ounces. $16. $32. $4. $70. And there we go. Sugar. Oh well. Now we're gonna get our pasta going. Once that is to a boil. Alright, that is done, so we can pull that off the heat. Just gotta get this one boiling. So in the meantime, I will do dishes. Alright, now that the water is at a boil, we're going to go ahead and add half of the pasta noodle. Since the recipe calls for 8 ounces of noodles, and this bag is 16 ounces, so we're going to add half of it. Yeah, I may have overfilled the pot. There we go. On the balance of heat. Because I set it directly on the burner, it shoots up like that. But if I have it just barely over, it's just fine. And with the pasta, another food science principle that you can use is to keep it at al dente, which is firm yet still pliable. It gives it a nice little texture. Depending on what you do want though for the recipe, you can go a little bit more firmer, just cook it for a couple minutes longer. This recipe does call for al dente pasta, so I'm just going to give it another minute or two. Alright, and I'm going to get my other pot going, this bigger one, because I need to transfer the pasta and the vegetables and the shrimp all into here to reheat, because by now these have gone fairly cold. And this is supposed to be served as a warm meal. Alright, it's 23, gonna take that off the heat. Now, gonna take you over to the sink to drain it. Alright, now it's time to drain the pasta. Take this bowl out. Get my strainer. Gonna be able to hold it up like this, and then I'm gonna get the pot. Dump all the pasta in there. There we go. And come on, noodle. One noodle's fine. Take all this dirty stuff out. So then just gonna let the noodles drain for a second. Alright, now that those have properly drained, I'm going to grab my other pot that has been warming. I'm gonna take this, take the noodles, add it to that. Gonna transfer you back over. Right. Gonna take this. Gonna take our vegetables. Gonna put them in here. It's a nice little flavor. Alright, get all that juice in. Right, that's done. Gonna set that there. Gonna mix this around. Get everything nice and get them to talk to each other a little bit, you know? Make them friendly with each other. They're gonna be neighbors, so might as well have them talk. I don't know what I'm saying. Just trying to make this a little bit fun. Alright, turn the heat up just a little bit to get that reheating going. Alright, now I'm going to add our shrimp. Got to get all that flavor from the shrimp. Alright, there's that. Mix it together, get that flavoring going. Alright, and now I'm gonna actually grab something else so I can pasta spoon so I can actually get these incorporated nice and well. Because, you know, they all gotta meet each other, say hello. Right now they're just all staying together. There we go. Much better. Alright, there we go. Let that warm up a little bit. Gonna wash this bowl and then make a plate. Alright, got my bowl there. Get my pasta. Grab the bowl. Gotta make sure to get at least one shrimp along with some pasta. Now it does say to add extra olive oil as a topping for the noodles, but I don't think I'm gonna do that. Just because a little quick on time, and I just need to eat this before I go do what I'm gonna go do. Alright, one more shrimp. There we go. And there's the bowl. Here we go. Oh, my camera flip. That's not flipping. How do I get this to flip? All right, and there we have our tomato, spinach, shrimp pasta. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? All right. And now that I've gone through everything I have wanted to go through, that is basically the entire recipe, and I've talked about all the food nutrition principles, the ways you can make this recipe healthier, the simple ways you can make it at home, along with whatever you need to do to this recipe, cooking the shrimp properly, all of the food science principles that I can think of at the time. I have been, as I've been going through and pausing the video, I have also been cleaning up my workstation, so I've been keeping a nice and tidy workstation, because a good chef and a clean area is always nice. You always know where everything is always cleaned all the time. So that's what I've been doing. Thank you for watching. Hope you like the recipe if you do decide to make it at home. And let me show you it one more time in case you're just watching it from the video. That way you can pause it and might be able to read that. All right. Thank you for watching.